And off we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan, here in the Stamford Bridge studio. Welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series here on the channel where I let you know essentially what's going on in the incredibly insane circus that is Chelsea Football Club, keeping you hopefully updated, giving you my opinion on it, but more importantly, asking for yours, the collective fan opinion, the Chelsea fan opinion. Today we're speaking about lots of stuff. Chelsea going to spend loads of money to rebuild this midfield. Is Todd Boehly going to do it again? Slap Arsenal over the face, on the face, over the head with another transfer hijack. Could well be the case. Chelsea looking, of course, to sign maybe two top-tier, high-profile central midfielders, as well as selling a load of people. But also, there's a player that we've got that we need not forget about. Of course, we're going to sell loads of attackers, probably, and maybe even Kai Havertz to Real Madrid, which is a huge story. And reports from Spain are suggesting that, kind of contrary to what we hear from him and how he does love Chelsea and he's happy with his girlfriend in England, that he's not convinced by the new Chelsea project. We will talk about all of that. Lots to get into, of course. This video is brought to you by OneFootball. You may have noticed the QR code top right here if you want to just scan that with your phone to go check out the app. OneFootball is totally free. It's sleek, it's easy to use, and of course, in this time of the transfer window when things pop off all the time, you want to be notified on your device to figure out to be like, everyone wants to be ahead of the curve, and you can achieve that with OneFootball. Will also give you everything you need when the season starts. So click the link in the top of the description. Go check out OneFootball now for free by clicking that or scanning that. Very, very, very nice. All right then. We begin. Let's start off with the midfield rebuild. Of course, Chelsea have been looking at Manuel Ugarte of Sporting, the young Uruguayan midfielder, and not only that, Moises Kaisado of Brighton. Of course, we all have PTSD from just stuff to do with Brighton, not just players, staff, managers, just vibes, The vibes coming from the coast is ones that sends chills down our spines currently. But ultimately, widely respected and widely agreed, Moises Kaisado, an incredible player. Yes, they said the same about Cucurella. Let's not think about that for the moment. Let's speak about James Quinion's article on Football.London, giving some insight on the midfield rebuild. We'll talk about that a little bit. Pochettino's priority at Chelsea this summer will be strengthening his midfield. I'd argue just rebuilding it entirely to change how we defend, to change how we attack, etc. And he appears to have settled on Brighton's Moises Caicedo and Sporting's Manuel Ugarte as top targets in a double swoop that could cost as much as £132 million. Yeah, the Argentine arrives at the club officially on July the 1st, where he will adopt 7 outright midfield players. Of those 7, Conor Gallagher, Mason Mount, Mateo Kovacic and Ruben Loftus-Cheek, 4 of the 7 have been the focus of intense speculation about moves elsewhere, and N'Golo Kante falls into the over 30s bracket, and Carney Chukwuemeka is still only a teenager. Yeah, Carney, there is a still, small chance he might still go out on loan. We don't know that, even though he has looked pretty useful when he's featured at rare instances last season. Mason Mount is likely, almost certainly, to go to Manchester United. God, it feels weird saying that even now. I know football moves very, very quickly in this day and age, but that's going to take a while to get used to, I think. Mateo Kovacic going to Manchester City would be the big story, wouldn't it? That would be the big, I don't know how I feel about that, but kind of understand story. That would have been that, headline that had Mason Mount to Manchester United, not been there. Ruben Loftus-Cheek to Milan is with a heavy heart, but it's a lovely old job, isn't it? It's an opportunity for him to go to recent Scudetto winners, ball out in Italy, and I think everyone kind of understood that to the point where it was a nice goodbye at Stamford Bridge. Mason had his longing sadness at the end at Stamford Bridge, but Ruben was like, it's time. Did a little spin, applaud, hugged the captain. Stamford Bridge went to their feet. We understand. Thank you for everything. It's kind of a nice moment. Conor Gallagher is similar to Trevor Chalobah. Would like to play for Chelsea, but understands maybe maybe it won't happen, you know. Conor Gallagher, of course, is a very, very good player. He's a current England international, literally just been called up to the squad again. I think he will, you know, he's been linked with your Newcastles of this world, and I think he'd be a good acquisition for any system coach. And indeed, if he did stay at Chelsea, Pochettino would probably be quite happy to have him as a squad player. I think he'd be like, well, this guy's a very hard-working, young, tenacious player, which is what he likes. But yes, regardless, we've spoken about a rebuild in terms of how the team plays, and that, if I say it, I've been saying it for years, games are won and lost in the midfield in the Premier League. So this only leaves Enzo Fernandez unaccounted for, so it would be wise for Pochettino to consider fresh legs and foremost in this area of the squad. The first two new faces the Blues plan, of course, is Moises Caicedo. The club's interest dates back in January. We were looking to get him, but I thought we weren't going to get him had we signed Fernandez. So it's a tricky one, but yeah, I guess when we're selling so many players, we reignite said interest. So Arsenal ramped up their efforts to sign the Ecuadorian before a move was blocked, though Brighton could allow him to leave this time around. I think it's widely accepted by Brighton that both Caicedo and Mac Allister are leaving. In fact, I think manager Roberto De Zerbi has said as much. Just this morning, on Saturday morning, Fabrizio Romano has said, look, Mac Allister's off to Liverpool, I think, which is a good signing for them because they need to sort out their midfield. So he's proven himself as one of the best in his position in the country over the last 12 months, displaying pace, power, precision, alliteration, and even the versatility to switch positions when required. Yeah, and he's only 21, isn't he? Is he 21? He's very young, Moises Caicedo. Notoriously difficult negotiators, Brighton. Yes, true. Who themselves have offered 30 million for Levi Colwill on a permanent deal just days ago, will be hoping they can hold out for at least £80 million for the 21-year-old. I'm just going to sip my drink, guys. One sec. Still got the illness, I'm afraid. He could be the second key midfielder to depart the South Coast. Of course, McAllister going to Liverpool, like we just said. So we'll talk about Ugarte in just 1 second. Kaisado, I think a lot of people would get excited about him. He is only 21. He's clearly very driven. And he's one of these many players that have been pictured in a Chelsea shirt. I think he's been pictured in the Chelsea kit 2 years ago, the one we won the Champions League in. Whether he's a Chelsea fan, I'm not sure. I don't really care anymore at this point. But he is a good player. He does look like he's got no issue with navigating the Premier League. And in all honesty, if you think, I know Ugarte is seemingly Pochettino's first choice to partner Enzo, but if you put Caicedo next to Enzo Fernandez, you might think, you know, not bad. I mean, there might even be occasions when we play a 4-3-3 and you have Ugarte at the base of midfield or Caicedo, excuse me, you know, flanked by the other two. And personally, I want Enzo more further forward. I think his passing and his eye for getting the ball forward quickly would be better as a sort of playmaker further up than a sort of quarterback. You know, he can do whatever, but who knows? Maybe if you play all three, they just interchange and we get some really like intriguing, you know, tactics that opposition teams and managers just can't work out because these three players can all play in each other's positions really, really well. Maybe that's the feature of the Chelsea midfield. Kaisado, of course, Arsenal still want him. They are likely to sign Declan Rice, but they still want Kaisado. Chelsea could do a Mudryk for them. I'm not sure they'd be too worried. You know, obviously Mudryk's had a really tough time, stuff that's going on in his home, of course, but you know, in also the footballing world, in what is the most dysfunctional, peculiar season of Chelsea's recent history. You know, absolutely insane, really. So let me know what you think of Kaisado down below in the comment section. We're about to talk about Ugarte. A good opportunity to ask you guys to like the video if you do enjoy the content. You're welcome to subscribe, of course. But let's talk about Ugarte. Right. So paying for Manuel Ugarte will be no issue. £52 million release clause. Both Chelsea and PSG have indicated to Sporting they would be willing to go with that sum. I reckon the payment packages would be different, but of course the player has to agree to go to one of those clubs. He has discussed with both. He would prefer a move to the Premier League, generally prefer a move to Chelsea and to play under Pochettino. But Chelsea originally offered a lot less money than PSG. We offered him €2 million net. PSG offered him €5 million net. Now, he'd be getting a significant pay rise regardless, but when someone offers you more than double, it really throws a spanner into the works, because he's like, come on, guys, I want to go to Chelsea here, but you've got to do something. And reports have since come out saying that Chelsea have increased their offer from £2 to £3.5 million net with add-ons, with bonuses. So Chelsea nearly doubled their offer there, and said, like, maybe you can get to the PSG thing if you achieve the bonuses, essentially. Which, to be fair to Chelsea, is a significant increase. I reckon they've done this personally because Pochettino's probably said, this is my boy, this is who I want, and this is who is really important systemically in this Chelsea rebuild. Certainly that's what the stories are suggesting. So if that is indeed the case, I'm very pleased that Pochettino is hopefully going to get his guy, and we can get this over the line. But watch this space, keep it locked, and we will keep you updated on Manuel Ugarte on this channel. Before we talk about forwards going, Andre Santos looks like he will get his visa. Obviously, absolutely balling out yet again for Brazil under-20s. He's the captain. He has been obviously called up already to the senior team for Brazil. Chelsea's U20s at that tournament absolutely tearing, whether it's Gaga Slonina just absolutely shredding in goal, just clean sheet after clean sheet, big saves. Cesare Kaisado scoring big goals, eliminating England. And, Andre Santos, yet again, people speak about how this guy is a CDM, how he's like, this Brazilian defensive midfielder, but he just scores so many goals. I mean, Casemiro started scoring quite a few goals for United. People have made comparisons, they're probably largely because they're both Brazilian as well, but this guy's 19 years old, and Chelsea are like, he is ready. He is ready to just play in the first team, and, so we talk about, if we play a midfield 2, and our first choice 4 is Enzo, Ugarte, Kaisado, and Andre Santos, we could do a lot worse, man. A lot worse. So I did want to reference that in the video quickly, because it said that, I don't know if it's because he's played at this Brazil World Cup, how it's helped him get a visa or something, I don't know. But the point being, we wanted to bring him in January, we had issues, but everything suggests that he will report to Chelsea for pre-season, and he is going to play for Chelsea, which actually is very, very exciting. Alright then, so we're going to flog a lot of forwards. For example, Ziyech, Aubameyang, Pulisic are all likely to go. Ziyech, we might be able to get him to PSG again, I'm not so sure. Aubameyang might go to Saudi. He might get his Barcelona return should we release him on a free. And there's also been linked with Galatasaray, I believe. Which, to be honest, he's going to be, 34 going on 35? It really wouldn't surprise any. I mean, the most that would surprise me if Barcelona do go back for him. But they did like him. Pulisic remains to have a lot of admirers in Italy, Serie A, whether it is... of course, Juventus were very, very interested in him, and there was one of the Milan clubs, I forget which one. We'll have to keep an eye on that, but there is still a massive market for Pulisic. It's just how much can Chelsea get? Of course, we know Chelsea want to sell as many players as they can within the next couple of weeks. So lots going to be happening. It's going to be a roller coaster of a ride in the coming days. So there'll be a lot of content here on the channel. Of course, the big story that we spoke on yesterday is Kai Havertz. If we're gonna, Felix is gone, and Cuckoo is gonna be the main man in that sort of second striker, number 10 role. We're gonna try and sign a striker. Havertz, I suppose he could be utilised as either a striker or a second striker, so he'd be a good squad player to have. And he's like, he's not like in the shop window for sale for Chelsea. It's been confirmed that for Chelsea to finish their amortised value, or to break even on the books now, they would need to sell Kai Havertz for £28 million. £28 million. Now you'd think Chelsea could sell Havertz for double that, double 28 million. But 50. You'd have to sell Kai Havertz for at least 50 million. If Real Madrid want to buy Kai Havertz of Chelsea, and he'll have a couple of years left on his deal, maybe even 2 with an option of 1 or something. You know, Champions League winner, young player, starts for Germany. You have to sell him for at least £50 million. We signed him for 72. Do you know what I mean? Like, Chelsea would try and... I mean, there's talks that Chelsea would want to sell him for a lot more. An important fee. Certainly, the fact how we can get profit on anything above £28 million in terms of financial fair play, they will be thinking, God, well, if someone waves 65 million under our noses and we know we've got Nkunku and we know we're going to buy a striker... Again, for me, it would be with a heavy heart because I'm a big fan of Havertz in terms of his player and his ability. I think he's quite unique. But, you know, Chelsea have long had fun, unique, talented vibes players. And maybe it's time for that to end and time to build a strong, systemic, you know, machine, of which these players are currently the opposite. So yes, it would take a few weeks should it happen. Maybe Chelsea wouldn't actually squeeze it into this financial window then. Maybe they'd sell him in July and they'd sell him for more. They'd hold out for a bigger fee. Florentino Perez and Carlo Ancelotti are big fans of Kai Havertz. Ancelotti's reported back to Perez saying, yeah, I would do well with this guy. They think he could play with Karim Benzema if Benzema was to stay for this extra final year. They think he can play as a striker, but they think they could play him next to Karim Benzema as well, which is true. A front three of Havertz, Vinicius Jr. and Benzema would excite Real Madrid fans. They'll think, you know, they'll get the best out of Havertz. And maybe they would. Well, I don't know. Keep it locked. Let me know what you think. Make sure you comment down below. Sorry I've been a bit like throat cleary today. I'm still a bit poorly. But keep it locked. Turn the bell on. I will update you on all the things that happen, which will happen probably very soon. Check out OneFootball. It's totally free. Click the link in the top of the description. See you very soon. Ciao.